Good morning. Good afternoon. And good evening, wherever and whenever you are watching this video. Welcome to the last crescendo review. Beterbiev versus Bivol 2 was at the weekend. Fantastic event down in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Riyadh season, great card. Few dropouts like we mentioned in the preview, few other things, but the card was amazing overall. Let's get into it. Without further ado, let's get into it. The last crescendo, it happened, it was there, it was mega, out of this world. Considering the circumstances of what happened on Saturday night, what a card it ended up being. The fights we had with Dubois dropping out, Bacoli stepping in, even Josh Padley, what a performance against Shakur Stevenson. Phenomenal card, phenomenal fights. I am hyped. Seriously though, what a card. Let's talk about the first fight on my list, Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith. Let's start off by saying this fight was an absolute war. It was everything and more. We've got to remember this was for the interim WBO light heavyweight title. Callum Smith only took this fight because there was something on the line for him. He would never have took this fight, and to be honest with you, Josh Buatsi fought out of his skin. Both came, both saw, both conquered. Round 6 has to go down as the round of the year, and we're in February. Let that sink in. Reviewing the fight, Callum Smith won by a big margin. In my opinion, the points margin, it was huge. To be honest, you couldn't really argue Buatsi won it. You could see from the celebrations afterwards as well, Smith sort of knew that he won it anyway. But just the combinations, the punches, they were literally battering 7 shades of shit out of each other. It was awesome. I cannot thank them enough for such a great fight. Just the footwork from Buatsi, Callum Smith managing to punch Buatsi from any angle, just narrowing him down all the time, pummeling him with shots coming from absolutely nowhere. It was fantastic. And then Buatsi being able to take all of that punishment and then give some receipts, hit him back even harder. What a performance from both fighters. No one came out of this a loser, regardless of the result. It was absolutely amazing. So what happens now? So Buatsi, you're at the level. You handled yourself. Yeah, you may have got beat, but you handled yourself at that level. I think the biggest fight for Buatsi at the moment, Anthony Yarde. Getting on a card, Britain, big British light heavyweight fight. Fantastic fight. Let's get it in. It'll be magnificent to see all the fans coming out into London to cheer both men on. Callum Smith, what do you do now? I mean, think about it. The guy's literally fought Beterbiev. He's never fought Bivol. But what do we do? What do we do with Callum Smith? He's not going to go for Undisputed because Bivol Beterbiev 3 is going to happen. That's just the way that the boxing game goes. Turki Al-Sheikh's going to want to put that back on. The third fight, the final fight, the trilogy, complete. Callum, why not fight Benavidez for the WBC interim? It's practically a world title at this point. This is why they've created them. So why not do it? Fight Benavidez. Callum Smith, Benavidez, Vegas. Let's go. Next we had Zhang versus Caballel for the interim WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Usyk's got all the belts, so really putting a title on this didn't really matter much, to be honest, in my opinion. The best fights on Riyadh season for belts nowadays are the British. Morning, you alright?
Good morning. How are you?
You didn't like me very much. Obviously not subscribed to Redhead Rumble, and if you're not, I suggest you do too. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Get involved. Now, the result of this fight was quite surprising, really. I had Caballel to win. However, I didn't expect him to win in round 6 by knockout. Great performance, Caballel. Zhang, it was the first time he'd looked old in forever. The main breakaway from this fight was that Zhang pretty much didn't get what he wanted. He just couldn't control centre, he couldn't hold centre. Caballel's pressure just kept battling him out. Switching stance was getting really difficult for him because Caballel just aimed straight to the body. He was knocking his body around for 6. It was literally watching someone who normally is the aggressor, is the controller of the fight and the pace. It was watching them combust and have someone replicate what you do to other fighters against you, using your own weapon against you, your own tactics against you. And Kabiel just unrelenting with the pressure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Always pummel him in the body, comes up for a quick hook or a quick jab, but just 1, 2, straight in his body. Zhang couldn't do anything to get even near him at the first few rounds. All of a sudden, Zhang comes out of nowhere, bangs him in the 5th. Kabiel falls down. You're thinking, we've finally seen something from Zhang. He's hit him. Surely the confidence now. Step on him, move on him, aggress further. Obviously not. All of the bodywork that had been done in the first 4 rounds, 5th round, had literally gassed him out. Zhang had nothing left. You could see it. He was running on empty. And it's the first time we've ever seen it happen. You've got to think, though, with Zhang's age, cardio levels are going to remain the same, but your body doesn't function the same. You've had 40 years on the planet. You're halfway through your average lifespan. It's not the same as a 26, 27-year-old who's just come into the man strength that, you know, the younger man. So after he didn't really capitalise on him on the 5th, Kabiel stopped Zhang in the 6th, and Zhang looked like he was really, really hurt, as if he'd just been through an absolute war, and he was only halfway through the fight. It's all over. Kabiel wins, 6-round stoppage. What a fight. What a scrap. Where does this leave both fighters? Does Zhang retire, or does he become a journeyman, a gatekeeper as such, for the big guys like Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, even Joe Joyce again? Do we see that again? And if we're going to talk about Kabiel's truly on the world stage now. That fight was an announcement saying, I am here, bring on the big boys, I'm ready for your Dubois, I'm ready for your Usyk. Remember, this guy has beat Makhmudov, Sanchez, and now Zhang, back to back. I think a lot of people have slept on Kabiel. Let me know in the comments if you knew what Kabiel was capable of. It was an awesome fight. You see Maurizio Sullivan in the end coming in with all of his WBC branding crap. I hate the WBC for that. But you can't take it away from Kabiel. It gives himself a really good ranking. He's the interim world champ and now puts himself in a massive spot. Probably top 4 across all 4 heavyweights. He's definitely in the top 5 now with that performance. Great performance. And well done, Kabiel. Zhang, I'm sure you'll come again. I don't want to see you in big fights with the top guys, though. I'd rather see you in with your Wilders or, you know, your Picolis, because you can't handle that, especially that power, that age. You just can't handle it. I think Dubois would finish you. So the next fight was a bit of an interesting one on the card. I was looking forward to it because it was super welterweights. The division's stacked. There's loads of good fighters in there. But looking at it, Israil Madrimov versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. is a great fight. Ortiz Jr. was my favourite going into this, 100%. I think the guy's unstoppable. Madrimov's a great fighter, but when his first idea doesn't work, he doesn't seem to have a plan C. He doesn't have a second gear. He doesn't know any other way of beating people. Virgil Ortiz won this fight on points. It was quite a dominant fight. I think if you watch that again, you'd definitely have Virgil Ortiz winning by 3, maybe even 4 rounds, in my opinion. What I did take from this, though, was Ortiz is beautiful to watch. His evasion techniques, the precision with his punches, the angles in which he comes from. He'll do a massive feint right to hit you with his left hand, jumping left. It was phenomenal. And the way he evaded as he came in, he just knew where Madrimov punches were. Breaking it down a little bit, Madrimov in the first few rounds, he was so bouncy on the feet, and I thought, it's great you've got this much energy and you're excited and the adrenaline's pumping, but what are you going to be like in round 7, round 8? Because you're moving far too much. The engine does start to fade. And unfortunately, Madrimov was doing this in the first few rounds, and I did expect it to probably hurt him down the back end of the fight. First few rounds, boring as anything. It wasn't really a great watch. The looping crosses from Virgil Ortiz, so precise, just literally on Madrimov's head alone. What a boxer we've got at Golden Boy. Again, it was clear to see Ortiz was the better fighter. Madrimov, he's no slouch, very good in the amateurs, very good professional, just not at Virgil Ortiz's level this night. Ortiz won with loads to spare. Madrimov never really got going, never really in the fight, to be honest with you. And it's fair to say that Ortiz beat Madrimov better than Crawford did. And that's a testament to how good Ortiz is. Where did he go from here? I think Ortiz could go for every other belt. Just off that performance alone. Remember, this guy's ranked 6, Madrimov. He's ranked 6 in the rankings across all belts, across the division. If Ortiz can handle him like that. Now, listen, there's no monkeys in that division. There's no slouches. Everyone's worth game. Everyone's game. There's a lot of undefeated records there. But I think Ortiz will challenge for other belts. Madrimov will probably be linked with a voluntary defence. I think after that fight, the other champions, if they have to take a voluntary to keep their belt, Madrimov is an option you can take, knowing that you can probably beat him if you're at that world level. Oh my days. So, Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz. This is for, again, the WBC middleweight title of the world. And I'm absolutely gutted for Adames. That was never a draw in a million years. Shiraz didn't do enough. He wasn't doing enough. He was connecting with a few punches. He kept trying for the right uppercut. But I think is he world level? In the preview, I said he is world level. Because I do think he's a great fighter. And I do think that he will be a world champion. This one, though, was just a bit too much. Adames won the fight because that last 6, bar the 11th, where you could closely score maybe a draw, he only won the first 4. So technically, you could have it, 7-5, maybe even, you're not going to have, I don't know where you get 6-6 from. What's worse is, as well, and obviously I know that Hamza is an ambassador for Riyadh season. Turkey going to his corner, 2 rounds to go, emphasising the point. You've got 2 rounds left. I'm thinking, mate, the corner know. He hires the corner. They know what's best. They know boxing. And I understand that Turkey's a great organiser. He's arranged all these fantastic fights and these events. And we all thank him as boxing fans for doing that, for bringing great sport, for bringing great matches to our TV screens, to these events, to the Wembleys of the world. Thank you. But I just don't think you have to get that involved. But how Adames didn't win that, it's a joke. I think you do the rematch. There's no point system like, the amateurs or the ABAs. It's literally just preferential scoring. If they like the aggressor, they will go with the aggressor. It's just the way boxing goes. But I do think the rematch is needed. It was a good fight. I enjoyed it. But I think there's a lot of lessons that both can take from both corners, because Adames as well, you let him have 4 or 5 rounds there. And granted, he's bigger than you, but you've got to be able to engage in the clinch a bit more on the inside. You've got targets there. It's a bigger body, bigger target to hit. So, yeah, rematch, got to get it on. So again, the next fight, WBC, they were all over this show. Obviously, we expected Floyd Schofield in this fight. Josh Padley stepping in. It's so good to hear that he's not on site anymore. He's retired from being an electrician because of the pay that he received from Saturday night. He went in there, he bossed it, he did everyone from Doncaster proud and himself proud. I bet his family and friends are absolutely over the moon with him, just like the English boxing public and the boxing public from around the world. There is not one person that could put an ounce of disrespect on Josh Padley's name. He's fighting one of the best in the division. That's why he's world champion. Shakur Stevenson barely got through the gears. He was keeping him off him. But Padley's resilience, his determination to be able to throw things back, it was absolutely stunning. What an absolute fighter. What a bloke. I wish you nothing but the best, Josh. So in this fight, unfortunately, Josh gets stopped. Shakur wins. The corner saying, enough's enough, Josh. I can't let you go out there again. Great corner work again. Fantastic corner work. Shakur is an unreal boxer. He's an unreal boxer. He came out of there basically unscathed. Padley threw some devastating body shots. Shakur just breezed them off. It was so good. He has to fight Tank next. So Padley's earned his money with that performance. He's not at the level, but it was a valiant effort. We have to give him that. It was Joe Parker versus Martin Piccoli. What did you think of this? For me, Bacoli looked like he'd not trained in about 5 years. Obviously, he saved the show. He was ridiculously unfit. Parker trained for 10 weeks. Looked like the fighter that we all know he is. He is my most underrated fighter for the last year and a half. He's unbelievable. He's going to be a world champion again. You heard it here first on Redhead Rumble. Bacoli took this fight because he knew the fight with Ajagba's still going to happen in May for him. So he made himself a cheeky 600 grand. Let's go back to the Congo. We will see better from Bacoli in the future, 100%. However, Parker now has Bacoli on his record, the boogeyman of the division. That record now is starting to look unbelievable. He'll get his fight with Dubois. I think he could beat Dubois just with his style, with his evasion, with his movement, with his speed, and now with his power. It looks like he's got a lot more powerful as well. I think that fight with Dubois, we could see a shock incoming. New Zealand, hi! Full support for Joe Parker. Great fighter. Good fight. Thanks, Bacoli, for stepping in. However, get back to training. Let's see how you get on against Ajagba. Right, on to the last fight. The fight we all came for. The fight we came to see. Beterbiev versus Bivol. Number 2 was on our screens. The result, Bivol won it easily, I thought. 2 rounds at least. For a few things I took away from the overall fight, Beterbiev is the only person I've seen with that Mike Tyson energy during an entrance. Just the straight beard, black shorts, just looking down, staring down the ring. Great fighter. Fantastic. Look at the condition he's in for 40 years of age, man. Some of these boxers, they just know how to live their life, and they do. They are unbelievable people. They're inspiring. They're role models. These are the kind of people that you want to put on posters in your children's bedrooms. They are people to look up to. Footballers on 350 grand a week are not, but boxers are. They live the right life. They keep themselves out of trouble. They know the discipline, the determination and motivation to keep going, the willpower that they show. There's nothing better than teaching your kids boxing or going doing boxing. Even if you're like me, 31, go and do it. It teaches you something new about yourself, how to put yourself in pain, under pressure, how to overcome it. When you're feeling angry, emotion, it gets rid of all that feeling. The dopamine level after finishing a great session, it's there for everyone. Go and do it. Go find your local boxing club. Go support them. Send your kid there. Do whatever you can. All right, Jack. Bloody hell, mate. Bivol knew in this fight he had to be busier. We all knew it. We all said it at the end of the last fight. He had to be busier than he was in the last. Because the last one, he let the pressure come from Beterbiev, and rightfully Beterbiev won the fight. Pressure can't be ignored. Aggression can't be ignored because they are there. You're pressing the fight. You're holding centre. You're moving the fight. You're carrying the dance. So every time Beterbiev came in, started throwing the 1-2 all the time. Every shot Beterbiev threw would knock out a lot of the light heavyweights. Bivol took some punishment, but he was catching a lot on his arms, on his elbows, in his gloves on the side. The guard was so precise at the right point, held it there. And then the right cross looping over, caught Beterbiev knuckle every single time. It was flush. Beterbiev walked through these punches, walked through them like they weren't even there. That man is built from stone. However, like in other fights, like in history, you can't do that pressure. You can't maintain that pressure, the aggression for the whole fight. It doesn't work. You will gas out. You're not necessarily gas out, but you'll tire. You can't throw with the same energy force for 12 rounds. It's 36 minutes of pure chucking everything you can at this guy, trying to defend yourself as well when stuff comes back. The first 10, it was 5-5. 100% for me. It was so close. You couldn't literally, either side you could have swayed each way. Beterbiev looked like he sort of tired towards the end. He looked like he wasn't throwing as many shots. And he couldn't quite get his rhythm right. And I think that's what ended up winning Bivol the fight, because in the 11th and the 12th, he just came out and holy shit, he dominated the last 2. If we look after the fight, Bivol's a deserved winner. There just has to be a third. There can't be another fight. The belts in the light heavyweight division are staying where they are. Fight for your interims, because there's only one fight for Bivol. There's one fight for Beterbiev, and that's number 3. Let's have a third fight. and let's just see what happens. It's so interesting because Beterbiev could easily come back in the third and win it. But if he wins it and it's another close fight, we've got to have number 4. We could have 5 fights with these guys. So what happens next for both of these class fighters? I think Beterbiev, he could retire after number 3 because I think number 2 took a lot out of him. And remember, you only get older. You can't beat Father Time. That's the one person in boxing you can't beat, Father Time. I do think he could retire. However, if he wins, I think we could see number 4. Bivol, there's nowhere else to go. Why fight someone else? If Canelo was on the meal ticket, maybe. But Canelo don't want to come and face Bivol again. He's beat him twice. So his only fight is Beterbiev. Go earn yourself another 10 million. Why the hell not? Bringing more fans to the sport, more eyes to the sport. You cannot help but support them enough. So speaking of support, listen, here's a message from me to you. I love making videos on this channel. And I love the fact that we've had a little bit of interaction as well. We're going to start putting them in different places sooner rather than later. But I just like doing them on YouTube. I like that I can practice on camera. There's obviously other avenues, as you can see in previous videos, that I might necessarily want to go down with my life. However, if you can, support me, support the channel, support the videos by liking, subscribing, and commenting down below what you thought of this fight, what you think of the channel. Am I a dickhead? You tell me. Thank you so much. This has been The Breakdown.